Hello, everybody. So I'm Thierry Berthoud of SILIOS Technologies, and I'm gonna speak to you about our CMS and CMS4 Series camera, multispectral camera, the two ones that are just behind me. And through example, I'm gonna show you that it is a very versatile multispectral imaging solution. So first of all, who we are and where you can find us. So you can find us in the south of France, close to Aix-en-Provence and close to the Mediterranean Sea. Our core business is micro-optics. So that means that everything that we do are made in a clean room thanks to the techniques of the micro technology, the semiconductor technologies. And the micro-optics to do what? To do, first of all, diffractive optical component on, let's say, phase optics for laser beam shaping, astronomy, and things like that. And also a second line of product, thanks to the same techniques, multispectral cameras and sensors. So this will be today's subject. So before presenting the two camera series, I will speak to you about the technology that is used to make them. So we call it color chase. So the color chase technology, let's say here you see the typical spectral response. So they are quite wide spectrally, so they have a spectral resolution between 20 to 40 nanometers, and we can go down to 15 up to 60, and the addressable spectral range within one optical chip is 300 nanometer. Why they are so, let's say, between quads, so wide spectrally, is because that give a higher sensitivity, so you have a better sensitivity to light, but also it gives you the possibility to have a low sensitivity to the incident angle of light. So we can work with, let's say, we can work with objectives with optical aperture up to FN2. So we are not obliged to use collimated, sorry, I forgot the name, sorry. And okay, so this technology, we applied it to do multispectral imaging. That is to say that we can replace the standard biomatrix or GGB by any custom biomatrix, like let's say 2x2, 3x3, 4x4, random lines with, of course, lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3, so whatever the wavelengths. And we advise not to go higher 16 wavelengths. We can do technically up to, let's say, 2500, but due to the spectral waves, it's more interested to stay at the 16 wavelengths. But this is multispectral imaging. This is not hyperspectral imaging. So the way our let's say multispectral sensors are made is that we apply a filter, our multispectral filter, and we align it pixel filter down to exactly on the pixel CMOS. In case of CMOS, because it can work also on a bundle of diodes, whatever the sensor. One important thing, so we have developed some alignment bench to do, in fact, the hybrid approach. So we work on the package sensor. We don't work at the wafer level. And this has several reasons. First reason to stay at the package sensor level is that we keep the microlens array function that people that does it at the wafer level cannot do. So we keep the microlens array function to what? Because any light that's passed through the filter is focused only on the sensitive part of the detector, of the pixel itself. So that means that you preserve about, let's say, 50% photon more than the other approach. And secondly, this gives us a very large flexibility to work on any sensor, so any sensor from any manufacturer. So the idea behind that is that we can provide you your own multispectral sensor based on the detector of your choice, based on the filter organization of your choice. But again, of course, that has a certain cost. So that's why we propose now also, aside of it, off-the-shelf camera, off-the-shelf multispectral sensor, off-the-shelf multispectral e-boards, off-the-shelf multispectral cameras. These are the CMS and the CMS4. So just to give you a quick idea of the size, sorry, this is the sensor size, so between my finger. This is the e-board that you can see here. And this is the camera level. So on this one is the CMS. The CMS4 is just a bit larger, but very, very few. So our multispectral camera, so off the shelf. So we started with the 1.3 megapixel CMS series. So they are based on the Teledyne E2V Ruby sensor. It's let's say 1.2 megapixels by 1.2K by 1K pixels detector. Sorry, so it's 1.3 megapixels. We have approach of having 3 models, because if you remember, we can work on 300 nanometer wide spectral range. So we made one sensor for the visible, one sensor, one camera for the range of 500, 800, and one camera for the range 600, 900. And the channel bandwidth, or let's say the spectral resolution per wavelength, is between 40 and 50. The organization of the macropixel, so let's say the Bayer matrix, it's 3 by 3. You have 8 spectral channel, 8 color channel, plus 1 panchromatic channel, so 1 black and white. And together with our camera, we supply free of charge our color shade software, our SDK, to allow you to develop your own application, starting from, let's say, our DLL on our camera. So this camera are deliberately low cost. That is to say, this one is about 6K euro, this one 6.5K euro, this one 7K euro. So currently, they are the cheapest on the market with all these features. So 1.3 megapixels on 8 channel. Again, then we develop, because when you have off-the-shelf products, it's always something, let's say, larger, something with more wavelengths, etc., that the customer are requesting us. So we agreed on the spatial resolution. So we did the same camera based now on the CMV4K CMOS sensor. So it's 4.2 megapixels. But again, the wavelength range are the same: 400, 700, 500, 800, 600, 900. And again, the color shade slab is provided with them free of charge. Also, they are the cheapest on the market with these features. This one is 12K, 12.5, 13K euro. And you have to consider that you have about 680 by 660 pixel spatial resolution per wavelength. So they have no competitor currently at the time with this feature and at this price. So this is an example of a screen of what the Color Shades Lab SDK provides. So it provides you the raw image. It provides you the image channel by channel. okay, and it provides you the false color image, but it can provide you, let's say, process image, because we have some processing here, processing functionalities in the software. And also, what's an interesting feature. An interesting feature is that when you select a zone on the raw image, or even on the color image, the false color image, it gives you the spectrum that you have to face. So now I'm gonna go ahead with examples, let's say application examples, to show you that it is a very versatile solution. So with this camera, in fact, you can address many fields, many fields. So the first one is precision farming. So mainly for drone. Then for this application, we supply only the let's say e-board with a S-objective adapter, because in fact our casing are not IP66 or 65; they're only IP53. So it's more we let the customer, let's say, place their own enclosure, and also to connect this camera, let's say this e-board, to their own, let's say, PC platform that is on the drone, to have the connection with the Wi-Fi, with the GPS, etc., etc. Because our camera do not have, let's say, internal data acquisition capability. Another application, so then also it's on robot, but land robot. It's for early disease detection. So the example is the CMS4 so the range 500-800. And our customer here, so it's Wageningen Research University, they made a comparison with an RGB camera and also our multispectral camera, the false color image without any process. So you easily see that the disease is very, let's say, more easily detected than with an RGB. And this is more true when you have problem of lighting. Here you see the shadow with the RGB image, and you can't get where there is the disease. And of course, it's easier to feed their neural network process, so that with this is the real advantage of our multispectral camera, because it changed completely the contrast. So here the shadow, here overlighted, and you cannot see where the pest is. But the AI process founded it, sorry, on the let's say false color image. Another application also, it's in the agriculture, but it's now with a smaller camera, with the CMS4. The customer made his own enclosure. It's to detect disease on 1 yard. Here is the example of SK disease, which is black measles in English. Sorry, sometimes I use French words. And you see, even on the dead leaf, let's say there is a very live leaf, an infected leaf, and a dead leaf. But it detects, thanks with their EA process, that, for instance, the dead leaf was not infected. So it can really pinpoint the infected leaf among, let's say, a group of leaves on the wine grapes. Sorry. And the big market behind that is flavescence dorée, the look for flavescence dorée. Another example in agro, but then it is a custom, because we can also customize our CMS and CMS4. It's not anymore off the shelf, but it's not so complex to customize them. Is to detect and quantify the disease on wheat in the field. So again, AI process applied, and you can discriminate that there is some part of the wheat which is infected, some not, but you see that also on the RGB image here. An application, again, is for waste sorting. Again, it's the V version, so apparently it's something which goes for many type of application. Let's say the range 500, 800, where the customer wanted to, let's say, look at the recycled material in the truck, in the garbage truck. So people, for instance, put a bad material in the bad trash can. So then at the level of the truck, they can determine that. And you see here in the RGB image, it's not obvious, to also thanks to classification and EA process. But with when we feed the system with our, let's say, multispectral camera, the process, the result was quite successful. So you see here, you see the, let's say, the recyclable one, the real recyclable one that you can see here. Here the plastic and some also recyclable. Here some part of the system which is the package which is recyclable, some not. It makes the distinction, etc., etc., etc. So that proves its real efficiency, but it's gonna be not in France, but somewhere in Europe. It's going to be installed in some cities because, again, sorry for the other, but you might have some taxes. New one. The Agrifood industry. With this, we made also some tests on the Agrifood. So, for instance, here it's on rice to find some stones, some small stones. So here, it's not anymore the CMS-V, but the CMSS. And here you see the RGB image. Here you see the raw image, so you have to turn it to have the same stone at the same position, but it's the same image. The orientation is just different. And we transfer it to per class Mira. It's an example of the classification software that we've used. And you really determine very quickly and easily the stones from the rice. Another application, pharmaceutical industry. Here it's a customer who brought us some two kind of pills. They all looked white when you have it. So he placed everything on a table, and just with the raw image you can discriminate a bit the one type of pills from the two other type. And of course, with the false color image, it's very much more easy. So if you give that to a kind of neural network process, it will distinguish very easily and quickly the two types of pills. So that have two different types of content. Another application is medical, dermatology, endoscopy. So again, it's a CMS4. I'm sorry, because many of customers purchases some CMS-V or CMS4V. Here, the customer wanted to look at the evolution of psoriasis after application of a cream to care the psoriasis. So he needed something, of course, in the visible, but something a bit in the near infrared, and he wanted a large spatial resolution because a human, sometimes the psoriasis takes a large part. And also a human, it's moving body, so it's not with a spectral when you have to take several points. So he needed a larger spatial resolution. That's what he went for, a CMS4. Cosmetics, which is not far from dermatology, but here it's for another application. This customer, again, as for human body, he took something with a large spatial resolution, but he wanted to make a skin spectral analysis for realizing custom makeup, online custom makeup, live custom makeup. So he looked at the visible range. Another application. So I have also again, but I will stop in a few slides because I only have 10 minutes. So it's the new space. The French space agency, so called the CMS, wanted to test the Earth observation for CubeSat, but with a snapshot configuration, because 99.9 and even more percent are push broom configuration. So he wanted to test that, and he asked us to implement that for a nanosat. The big interest of our techno is that it takes no place. It's just a piece of glass that you place on the detector. So the standard sensor that is on board of a micro or nano satellite, in fact, we transform it with adding only 1 gram of piece of glass on the detector. So that was the big interest that had the French Space Agency for our technique and solutions. Last application I will show you is the defense. Then it's a custom, so I cannot disclose the range, sorry. But the idea is to, in fact, globally to detect where there is no chlorophyll. It's one of the possibility. Here there is a truck, and the very powerful software of our customer, in fact, detected the truck in real time. So on the truck, if you could see the real image, you would see that you cannot see this truck in that part under the net, the camouflaging net. But there are also other applications, target designation, etc., etc., etc. So that's all for today. Thanks a lot for your attention.